The No Fate channel checking in with another episode of Dad's Diet Tips. One of my favorite videos from 2019 on YouTube from an educational standpoint on nutrition was made by priceplow. The CEO of priceplow connected himself to a glucose monitoring device, and he did a number of tests. But one of the videos that stands out, which I'm going to link in the description below and at the end of this video, was seeing the glucose response to eating a traditionally heart-healthy breakfast that many of us in America eat ourselves or think of as being very good to give to our children. So he had a breakfast of quick oats and banana, right? You can't go wrong, right? Oatmeal and a banana, great breakfast to have, fills you up, or at least we think, and gets you on with your day. Well, the results that he was able to show are not surprising to me, but would be surprising to many of you. And obviously, when you actually see the results from the glucose monitor as they happen, it is definitely hard hitting. So he was able to show that the oatmeal and the banana absolutely spiked his glucose levels in real time. It was very interesting to see. And one of the bigger takeaways, I think, from a diet perspective is that he felt hungry very quickly after eating what many would consider a fairly good-sized breakfast. So in today's video, I want to give just a few tips on how you can take a traditional breakfast of oatmeal and a banana and actually make it just a little bit more healthy, make it so that your glucose response is going to be more even and basically dampered. And let's just quickly dive right in. Okay, so first and foremost, bananas are extremely healthy. We think of them in a good light, and you should, but for a breakfast, if you're looking to avoid that glucose dump, skip the fruit, skip the banana. Even though bananas, again, not too bad and not nearly as bad as some fruits on the glycemic index, unnecessary. So we're going to skip that. We're going to pull those right off. The second thing we are going to do is exchange the quick oats, which are very convenient because they cook 1 minute in the microwave, for the old-fashioned oats. These take a little bit longer. They cook 2 to 2.5 minutes in the microwave. The only difference, the macros are exactly the same. The products, the ingredients are exactly the same. The only difference, hopefully you can see this, is that the size of the old-fashioned oats is a lot thicker than the quick oats, which is why they take longer to cook, but also why they're going to digest slower in your system. The idea with regards to any food that you eat is that you want to slow down that digestion window, slow down that absorption window in your body, and hopefully get that even energy and that even distribution of glucose in your system. So we're going to go with these old-fashioned oats. Now, if you really want to go all the way down the rabbit's hole, you can actually use steel-cut oats. Steel-cut oats are even bigger in size than the old-fashioned oats. However, they take a lot longer to cook, and I don't have the time for that, and most of you don't as well. The other thing we're going to do with regards to our breakfast is we are going to add an egg in. Okay, the reason we're adding an egg in, not only is it going to add protein, which we're going to actually talk about later in detail, but it adds in fat. When you add in fat to a meal, it slows down the digestion process, and that's really a reoccurring theme, that we're trying to just kind of slow our systems down to make sure that our bodies are not just getting dumped with glucose and then having that horrible insulin response that our systems do when we take in way too much sugar all at once. So when you add a fat to any meal, it's going to slow down that process. And many people really shy away from fat. Fat has a bad connotation, thanks to the Food and Drug Administration's chart that they have back from like the 70s and 80s. But healthy fats are very good for you, and there's not that much fat in here compared to the amount of protein that's in here. So we're going to add in a whole egg. Another small trick that we are going to do to slow down the digestion process and essentially just damper that glucose response is to add a touch of ground cinnamon. I'm going to put a dash because I am lazy, but this is probably between a teaspoon and a tablespoon. Yeah, that's probably 2 teaspoons. Ground cinnamon, very, very high in fiber, almost all fiber, and it's going to slow down that digestion process. It's going to cause your body to take more time to digest the food, and it's going to help with your insulin response. Ground cinnamon is one of those ingredients that helps with your insulin sensitivity. And the last thing that we are going to do, another trick to any healthy breakfast, is to add protein in here. So I am using NutraBio's whey protein isolate cinnamon sugar donut for a few reasons. Number one, I'm a huge NutraBio fan. I think they make a very clean, lean protein, very good quality protein, but mainly we're adding this in for the flavor. Their ground cinnamon, their cinnamon sugar donut, by far their best flavor in my opinion. You want to have some flavor with your oatmeal. Obviously, you took out the banana. You want to make sure you're having some flavor, and the cinnamon goes very well with the cinnamon sugar donut. Also, adding protein to any meal is going to, again, this is a broken record here, slow down the digestion process, and more importantly, it's going to make you feel more full. Oftentimes when we have carb-only breakfasts or carb-only meals, that the sugar and the response in our system causes us to be hungry much, much quicker than if we add healthy fats and proteins. So we're going to blend this up. We're going to add some water, blend it up. I'm going to show you how to cook it. After giving it a thorough stir, we're going to put it in the microwave for 1 minute. But as I mentioned, because we're using old-fashioned oats and because we have the egg in there, we are going to be putting it in longer for a minute. But for the first go, we're going to put it in for 1 minute. Okay, hopefully you can see that. That's after 1 minute, and you can see it's starting to thicken up. And as you cook it longer, it's not only going to remove some of that liquid in here, but it's going to cook it fully. I'm going to put this in for another minute to a minute and a half, depending on how it looks after a minute. So there you go. Hopefully you can see how that looks after an extra minute and a half. I'm going to let it sit and cool just a bit before I enjoy it. I'm going to put all the macros on the screen, but this might be a bit calorically dense for some people. Ideally, if you wanted to cut back on this, you could just cut down the old-fashioned oats from 1 cup to 2/3 or a half, and you could even cut down on some of the whey protein isolate if you wanted to. A few final points of discussion. I do use kind of a massive mixing bowl to kind of keep everything contained because I am super messy when I stir. However, if you happen to be a bit more reserved with your stirring, you could get away with a smaller normal size bowl. Also, I want to give a huge thank you to priceplow. Again, I'm going to link their video now and drop it in the description below. They put out some really cool, informative videos that I find interesting. Hopefully you will too if you check them out. Last but not least, I just want to say, even though I'm a NutraBio fanboy with regards to their whey protein isolate and many of their other products, you can use any protein that you want. The idea is just if you add protein to a breakfast meal, it's going to make you feel fuller longer, and it's going to slow down that digestion process and help with that glucose release into your bloodstream. I hope you found this video informative. Ideally, you got a few takeaways on how to make your breakfast not only healthier, but make you feel fuller longer, both for you and for your family. If you came this far in the video, give this video a like, hit the subscribe button, drop that in the comments below. Any questions you might have, I'll get back to them as quickly as I can. As usual, thank you for watching, and don't save anything for the trip back. I am dedicated to helping you be a great parent to your children and still accomplish your own personal goals. I provide ideas and insights to help you save time, money, and your sanity. 3 things that are in short supply for every parent out there.